Hi, I'm Jim Stroud, and this is my podcast. If you spent some quality time in the San Francisco Bay Area over the past few years, then no doubt you have encountered the food automation trend, where robots and automation take your orders, create your food, and serve it in some futuristic fashion. If you were an investor in a food automation startup, the pitch to you probably included this quote from Business Insider, which reported on the food automation trend with this quote about robots. Quote, "Robots could be used to fill repetition-heavy positions that require hours of non-stop work like line cooking. That could then free up human employees to provide higher quality customer service. Labor costs and subsequently menu prices would be lowered, tipping would become obsolete, restaurants could more heavily invest in higher quality ingredients, and profits would increase for business owners in the process." End quote. Well, all of that sounds great, but what is the reality? Well, I'll explore that after this.
Do you love four-letter words?
Who doesn't? And then you mix recruiting news and insights in with those four-letter words.
I'm Cheese.
And I'm Chad.
And we are the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts. We out.
Employer brand professionals know that doing great work involves doing big, high-level strategic thinking and getting your hands dirty. If that sounds like the kind of work you want to do, come listen to the Talent Cast. It's the world's most highly caffeinated employer brand podcast.
In the San Francisco Bay Area, food automation is definitely a trend. For example, you have the Cafe X coffee bar, which has this robot arm building and serving you coffee, robot barista. At Creator, which is a startup backed by Google, a robot builds a burger for you in 5 minutes, I think for like $6. The robot over at Blended makes smoothies also for $6. And not to be outdone, a robot named Sally makes salads over at this place called Chowbotics. Good food fast at a lower cost because you're not employing as many humans. Sounds like a win-win for the customers, the restaurant owners, and the investors who back them. Be that as it may, I would offer the cautionary tale of a certain food automation chain called Eatsa. I'll let Tim Young, the co-founder of Eatsa, explain what it is. Back in 2015, he was interviewed by CNET, and it sounded like this.
So tell us about the concept behind Eatsa and how you guys came up with the idea.
Yeah, so we wanted to build a concept that was bringing the speed and affordability that you might find at traditional fast food, which might have things wrong with it, but the price points are right and the speed is right, and bring that to a food that was both nutritious and super delicious and flavorful, and that is Eatsa.
So once you've placed an order, how long does it take for your food to come out of the cubby?
So, I mean, on a heavy day, we're thinking it's about probably 3 to 5 minutes. But on a light day, we're actually able to prepare the food in probably 60 to 90 seconds. When they walk in store, they're going to see 9 iPad kiosks that they can walk up to. And they're able to place their order on those kiosks. Once they've completed their order, they'll walk over towards where our cubbies are, which is where your food comes out. And above the cubbies is a large status board that'll say all the different orders that are up and where to find them. So if Tim Y is in cubby 3, you can look down, go to cubby 3. You'll see a graphic displayed on the actual door. It'll say your name as well as the fact that it's cubby 3. You tap it, you get your food, and you leave. So one of the pretty unique elements in our store is the cubby. And so on the door of the cubby is what's called a transparent LCD. And effectively, it's an LCD that you can see through. And so what we've built is a way to see not just the digital representation of your name, but you can actually look in and see that overlaid on your food. And quite frankly, we've been noticing our customers are pretty delighted by it, so we're really happy with how well it's been received. One of the key reasons we wanted to use technology to automate ordering, besides making it a more efficient process, is we're actually able to get to know our customers. At your average fast food or fast casual restaurant, that cashier isn't necessarily able to remember every customer that comes in the door. We're actually able to remember who you are, what you've ordered in the past, so that we can make it much faster for you to get your favorites with one-touch ordering.
Again, that interview was from 2015. By 2019, Eatsa closed its San Francisco locations and pivoted to restaurant tech and software and rebranded itself as Brightloom. And they were not the only food automation company to pivot to a new direction. Cafe X, the coffee bar with the robot barista arm that I mentioned earlier, recently closed its doors at its San Francisco locations, although they are still operating at San Francisco International Airport and San Jose Airport, I believe. And then there's Zoom, the SoftBank-backed startup known for its pizza-making robots, shuttered its pizza business and pivoted into food truck tech and services in November 2019. But by January 2020, that's today, the company laid off 400 employees to further cut costs. So, what happened to the promise of food automation? Why the failures and forced pivots? Well, I somewhat have an idea why that happened, and I'll share it with you after this. DuckDuckGo is a search engine just like Google, and its main focus is users' privacy. If you have ever used this search engine, you already know what it can do for you. Now, whether you are a new DuckDuckGo user who is trying to learn what all this site can do, or you are someone who has already been using the site for some time, learning some of the search tips for this famous search engine will not hurt. Go to www.jimstroud.com/free to download the free ebook, 12 DuckDuckGo Search Tips You Should Know to Boost Productivity. Again, go to www.jimstroud.com/free to download the free ebook, 12 DuckDuckGo Search Tips You Should Know to Boost Productivity. Do it now. You'll be glad you did. When I read how the food automation trend was so far not all it was predicted to be, two article quotes came to mind. The first one was from USA Today, which reads, quote, "Once robots are implemented in eateries," food writer Eve Turrell-Paul is concerned that big fast food chains may just opt to put savings generated from employee cuts into their coffers and not into higher quality ingredients. Another big byproduct could be simply losing touch with the very meaning of a meal, she says. Having a sensorial communitarian experience is a reason to go to a nice restaurant, says Paul. When there's a robot making that food, you're foregoing a certain sense of intimacy with another human being. End quote. The second quote that came to mind is from Psychology Today. I think I quoted it in a previous podcast. It goes like this. We live in an era in which communication seems simpler than times of the past. In essence, a coworker is one email away, a friend is one text away, and a loved one is one video chat away. Although communication may be easier and faster, connection may still be complicated. Therefore, despite the reputation for practical societal advancements, our technologically advanced time is also being linked to a loneliness epidemic. Citing his professional experiences in which he noted loneliness as the most common pathology, former U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy emphasizes that loneliness and emotional well-being are serious public health concerns. Have reports of loneliness been increasing? In the past 50 years, rates of loneliness have doubled in the United States. In a survey of over 20,000 American adults, it was found that almost half of respondents reported feeling alone, left out, and isolated. Further, 1 in 4 Americans shared that they rarely feel understood, and 1 in 5 people believe they rarely or never feel not close to people. So, is the reason why some food automation companies have failed or pivoted is because people prefer to interact with other people? Sure. That's part of it. At least I think so. But I don't think the food automation trend is dead. Far from it. I think for food automation to take off, it has to be in sync with human workers. I said this before when discussing recruitment automation tools. Think Tony Stark, not Terminator. Case in point, I'll close out with this quote from Business Insider. Quote, "One of the robot-run restaurants that seem to be doing all right, is Creator, which is still humming along since opening in mid-2018. There are robot attendants and humans present in most of these restaurants, but there's more of a human presence in the burger-making robot joint, as The Guardian's Vivian Ho pointed out. The robot prepares the Creator burger, but humans take your order and perform other tasks. And as San Francisco Gate's Alex Martichow writes, the robot restaurants the author visited and enjoyed the most were the ones that involved real-life people." End quote. So, yes. Technology is a wonderful thing. Just don't forget about the people. If you love what you heard, hate what you heard, or don't know what you just heard, I want to know about it. You can leave a comment concerning this podcast on my website at www.jimstroud.com. In addition to finding source material and related information for this podcast episode, you'll find other goodies that I hope will make you smile. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my website. Your continued support keeps this podcast train chugging down the track.